Today is March the 8th, 2023, and today we are here with Claudette Smith, who's running for Amarillo City Council, Place 4. Claudette, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Let's tell the voters why they should vote for you for City Council, Place 4.
I feel like the voters should vote for me because for the past 7 years, I have been attending council meetings and, just fighting for transparency and accountability and fiscal responsibility within our city government. I have pursued those efforts at our local level as well as our legislative level. I've made a lot of friends at the legislative level, and I stay in touch with them and with what's going on there. And I've just been fighting for the citizens of Amarillo for at least the last 7 years. And so I feel that my track record of action speaks for itself. I think that my role would be much more effective if I were elected to serve on the city council in Place 4. And so that's why voters should vote for me.
So you said you've been fighting for the voters of Amarillo. So what are some of the things you've been doing specifically to fight for the voters?
Well, I've been keeping up with everything that's been going on, the spending that's been going on with the city, what they're spending money on, if it's efficient, if it's not, going to the council meetings, speaking out against the things that I feel are wasteful spending. Like I said, I've built those relationships with some of our state representatives, and so I have pursued efforts regarding our voting machines. I mean, I'd really like to go to paper ballots, but that doesn't seem like it's an option right at this moment in time, unfortunately. But I've been talking with Representative Tony Tenderholt out of Arlington a lot about our voting machines. And as you know, the last time I asked for a recount of the election, and there was a lot of planning that went behind that. It wasn't that I thought it was going to change anything. It was more or less to prove a point of how unsecure our current machines at that time were, and to prove that it's just numbers, it's just data that's put in there. It's not actual images of the ballots that are cast that you're recounting. It's whatever's put into the system that it's printing out. And so, that was the whole purpose behind me doing that, was an effort to, get our machines changed, in which I'm not taking all the credit for that, but we've gotten new machines, and though I don't think they're totally secure, it's better than what we had before. So I've just tried to pursue efforts on every level to make a change regarding our high taxes, and from taxes to trash not being picked up. It's always something different. I have people that contact me all the time since I ran in the last 2 elections, regarding anything from trash to homeless people to taxes to anything. And so I've just been trying to do everything I can to make Amarillo better.
So do you think if you're elected, would you represent the interest of the voters and adhere to what they want, or do you think you're elected to do what you want?
Absolutely. Everything that I do will be for the voters. And that's why I think that a lot of decisions need to go on a ballot. Not every single decision, because that becomes very costly. But whatever the voters' wishes are is what I will be doing, because majority rules. And that's what I'm elected to do, is represent the people.
So you would probably agree with the phrase that a ballot should be defined as a hand-marked, self-authenticated, tangible document that can be verified?
Absolutely.
That's what we're working on, trying to get accomplished in the legislature. To me, that's all we need in the election code, and that solves all problems.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. We can get rid of the machines. It's up to the county commissioners. City government has nothing to do with that, but the county government does.
Right.
And they can choose the voting system for their county. So hopefully we'll see some progress on that soon.
Oh, I sure hope so. I really do. We need something changed there, because it's really not secure the way it is. I think having the paper ballots will meet the checks and balances that we need.
Well, we don't have the new system is just smoke and mirrors. It's the same system, and it does nothing. They said that the vote was counted when you scan it. That's not true, and we proved it. So it's just added cost to make people think they have a semblance of paper, and it's all smoke and mirrors. And expensive. Mm-hmm. We don't need it. But that's kind of my pet issue.
Oh, I saw where you were talking about that, and it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be on a panel with Tulsi Gabbard and Dennis Kucinich in Austin on first week of April to talk about all that. That'll be interesting. But what do you see the top 3 or 4 issues that you'd like to get accomplished once you get elected?
Well, my first most important issue is public safety. I believe a lot of the departments are very underfunded. They're struggling with a lot of issues. I've met with the firefighters. They're having a lot of issues. The police officers, same thing. We don't have enough police officers. We don't have enough firefighters. We don't have enough fire stations. We've expanded a lot on the southwest part of town. There's no station out there. I mean, it takes anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes for them to get a truck out there if there's an emergency. Then you've got the other side of town where you've got Amazon out there. They're taking 12 to 15 minutes to get out to Amazon if there's an issue, and they have had one. And I forgot what the response time they said was, but we need a couple more fire stations, some more fire personnel. I think we need to meet the competitive pay that other cities are offering for our police and firefighters, other cities our size. Because right now, the way that they have it set up, we're actually wasting a lot of money. We're wasting a lot of money in that we are putting these guys through the academies, and then they're turning around and leaving right away. As soon as they finish the academy, they're going to a different city that pays more. Then you've got a lot of firefighters and stuff here locally that live here, but they drive all the way to Lubbock because they pay more than we do. And we don't have any contracts or anything like that secure, the jobs and retain these guys. No contract that says that once we put you through the academy, you're going to have to stay here for X amount of years or whatever the situation is. So we're wasting a lot of money recruiting and putting these guys through the academy, and then they just flock off to somewhere that pays more. And so realistically, that's costing us a lot more money, when if we were doing it the more efficient way and the right way, raising their budget wouldn't be a problem. So we've got to work on that. We've got to ensure that every city in our street is a safe one. That's my first and foremost priority, is public safety. The other issues that I have are our taxes obviously are too high. The wasteful spending, we've got to cut out the wasteful spending and stop spending money on items that are not the role of city government. If we do that, we're going to be able to really get in and scrutinize that budget and have some money for other things. But right now we're worried about downtown vanity projects and things like that are costing us a lot. They're costing us a lot of the budget. And so we've got to cut that stuff out, get back to the basics, take care of those things, and then we can worry about the other stuff. So taxes and fees. Fees, when I say fees, I'm talking about the drainage fees and things like that. I'd really like to dive in and see what we're doing with those millions of dollars that we're collecting on that drainage fee. And make sure that that's going to the proper place. I disagree with the whole drainage fee thing to begin with, but
it's what I call the rain tax.
Yeah, that's a huge part of our budget. I mean, it almost seems like they're running our city off of the drainage fees and the water department. If you look at how much revenue is there, I mean, that's a big portion of it. So I want to get in there and look at all of that. I know we've had quite a few increases on the drainage fee. I call it a drainage tax because it really is. You're forced to pay it. So
I don't think it's a legal tax.
Right. I don't think so either.
It's a rain tax.
Right. It's a tax.
It's a tax on
rain. It's not a fee. It's a tax.
Yeah.
So
it's property tax is what it is.
Basically.
Because it's based on your property size. And they just made up a name.
Mm-hmm.
So I give them a hard time and told them it was a rain tax. And said, if you can guarantee me X amount of rain per month, maybe I'm happy with that.
Right.
But you pay the tax whether you receive rain or not.
Right. So the taxes and fees, and then small business and economic development, I think that we really need to prop up our small businesses. We've focused a lot on a lot of these bigger businesses and given them a lot of tax abatements and things when they really didn't need them, such as Amazon. Amazon was already coming here, and we just threw millions of dollars at them for what reason, I don't know. We've got a lot of small businesses here that could really thrive if given the proper tools, and I feel that we really need to focus on that. There's a lot of issues going on within the departments of over-regulating businesses out of business. Here locally, that's been a thing that's been going on for years, and we need to make it a level playing field for everyone. So I really want to work on a small business first initiative and devise a plan with the citizens and the other council members and the mayor and the internal departments in regards to that, to try to make it easier for small businesses to open, to get their permits. I mean, I've just heard numerous stories, and people come to me all the time telling me how many issues they're having with getting permits. And then I'll call the relevant departments and say, look, I need you to meet me over here. And they'll meet me there, and they get their permit the next day. I don't know what the problem is, but they'll give them the runaround for 3 months or so, 3 to 6 months to get a permit for something, and it's always something else. It's just, we shouldn't be a roadblock, is what I'm trying to say. We should make it easy and welcoming and, open the doors up for those guys. So I really want to work on that, those three things.
So you think the most important thing is transparency?
I think the most important thing is public safety right now.
Public safety?
Correct.
Okay.
Transparency is a huge issue as well, but the most important thing on my agenda at this moment in time is public safety. We've got a lot of issues going on with that.
Well, but that boils down also then to the county, because they're the ones that prosecute, right? So the police can arrest, but if they're not prosecuting them, that's a problem.
Right. Yeah.
So everybody needs to work together, solve that issue.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Excuse me. So why did you choose to run for place 4?
Well, I mean, I didn't really want to run for office any of the times that I've run for office. The last 2 times that I ran for mayor, I ran in an attempt to unseat our current mayor. But now she has decided to vacate that seat. And so Cole Stanley has stepped up to run for that spot, and we think almost identically. And so I think that he's already had 2 years in there. He's got that under his belt. Again, we agree on 99% of the things regarding city business. And so I think that he's fit for the job, and he's a proven leader. So we talked about it for several weeks. Me and him just went back and forth, and we decided that he was going to run for mayor. And so we talked about whether I was needed to run in any spot, or whether we thought the people that were running were sufficient to get the job done. And the general consensus was place 4 was where I needed to be. So that's where I decided to run.
So do you have any endorsements from any groups yet?
I forget what it's called, IPEU. It's a local 306. It's a union. I was endorsed this last time by Conservatives of Texas, but they have changed over to a 501(c), so they can no longer provide the endorsements. Like I said earlier, when we were talking, I met with the firefighters today. I have not secured their endorsement yet, but they are finishing interviewing all the candidates in race 4 before they make a decision on that. But I hope to gain their support.
Very good. So how did the voters get a hold of you or find out more about you?
Okay, I'm on social media everywhere. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. My site is actually changing right now because when I had previously ran, so we're editing it, and I'm not exactly sure. I think it's Claudette Smith for Amarillo.com. So that'll be a couple weeks before I'm finished revising that to change it over to place 4. And then, I mean, if anyone wants to call me, my cell phone number is 806-678-2595. Anyone can call me anytime. And that's how I'll be if I'm elected as well. Everyone will have my cell phone number. It doesn't matter who you are. And I'll have an open door policy, and anyone can call me anytime for any reason.
Very good. All right, Claudette. Well, I appreciate you coming by. And is there anything else you'd like to tell the voters as to why they should choose you over all the other opponents you have in place 4?
Well, I like I said before, I think my track record speaks for itself. I mean, I've been fighting for the citizens for several years now, and my work has never stopped. Although it's been from the sidelines, it's never stopped. And in order for me to be more effective, I would need to be elected to place 4 in order to be able to be more effective. Speaking at the council meetings and things like that, at least with the current group we have now, is a total waste of time because they will not listen to you. They will not put items on the agenda that you'd like to speak about. You know, they hide behind the Texas Open Meetings Act, say we can't have that discussion because it's not on the agenda. Well, here's an idea, put it on the agenda. In Houston, the mayor and council there, I really dislike the mayor in Houston, but they've got a process where you can request things to be put on the agenda. That way you guys can have a back and forth discussion about it. I originally became interested in our local politics because I was having some issues related to the city. And so I started going to the council meetings and speaking out about these things because I couldn't get anything accomplished through the internal departments. And so that's how I initially got involved in everything. And they wouldn't listen to me, and they kept telling me that, well, we can't talk about it. Why can you not just put this on the agenda? Because if you guys had addressed my issue the first time I came here, I wouldn't have probably have been here for the last 7 years, noticing all these other issues that our city is having. I wouldn't even be here. So I think that it's really important that we address the issues the first time around for people. And so that would be a great idea. I mean, no, we cannot put every single issue on the agenda for every single person. We'd be there all day and night. But, I mean, we've got a lot of time as far as years are concerned. So we can put people's issues on the agenda and have a discussion with them if it's not something that can't be resolved through the internal departments first.
Well, the other issue I hear a lot of people talk about, maybe it's died down a little bit, but the issue with people's pets all over town, people not maintaining their animals. Mm-hmm. Do you have any insight on that?
I mean, a couple of years ago, this issue was brought up and it was really brought to light. And there have been some other organizations, I think, that have started, like Pets Clinic and things like that. There's a lot of animal organizations out there. And if the city council would just listen and work with them, then I think these are some issues that we could resolve. The problem is they've got their hand up. We don't want to hear about it. We're busy downtown. And so, again, I mean, the council can't solve everything, but all of these volunteers have stepped up to the plate with all these different animal organizations. Why can we not work with them to make sure that these things get done?
What is the council's real role in city government?
To represent the people.
But aren't they the oversight of the city manager and all the departments, kind of like
yes
Congress
and no?
is?
The mayor and council. Well, the city manager works for the mayor and council. The mayor and council are supposed to put everything through the city manager, and he's supposed to take everything downhill from there to the other departments.
He's supposed to implement what they direct.
Correct.
Yeah. So the council's responsibility really is to listen to the citizens.
Correct.
And to inform the city manager.
Correct.
And tell him what to do.
Correct.
Does it work that way?
Not currently. And so that's a big problem. That's one of the biggest problems that we face. I mean, they're not listening to the citizens at all. They're implementing and suggesting to the city manager their agendas that they want or that they believe should be implemented rather than listening to the citizens. I mean, I think the Civic Center issue speaks for itself on that issue.
Well, fortunately, we had somebody step up and file suit on them and stop them.
Right.
Or the citizens of Amarillo would have been in a big problem with their property taxes.
And it's still ongoing, I believe. I believe they appealed it. So, unfortunately, we're wasting a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
A lot more money than we've already wasted. So, yeah.
Well, I can't see they're going to overturn it.
I hope not, but you just never know.
Well, we have some good people on the Court of Appeals, so I think they're reasonable.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think it's a sad affair when we're using essentially the taxpayers' money to fight the taxpayers on an issue that has already been put on the ballot and was voted down.
Soundly defeated.
So that's a bad situation.
Yeah. Well, all right, Claudette. Do you have anything else you want to tell the voters and give them your last minute pitch?
Well, I think that everyone should do their research and be informed about the candidates that they're voting for. And I think that, again, my track record speaks for itself. I've been here. I have never stopped fighting for the citizens. I've been doing all this work even when I haven't been elected. So imagine what I could do if I were to be elected. The other folks in my race, at least two of them, as far as I know, I mean, haven't really had a voice in local politics or city business. I mean, they've had their own personal voice in it, but they haven't been attending council meetings and speaking out about these things or pursuing anything on any level. So they just got to the party. I've been here for quite some time. So I would say go with a person that has a proven record that you've seen and that you've heard their voice and you've seen what they've been doing before just voting for someone that you know nothing about or that hasn't been involved. Because I will be light years ahead of the game when I get in there, rather than having to learn everything from scratch.
Very good. All right, Claudette. Well, we thank you for coming by and good luck on the campaign trail. And I'm sure we'll see you at numerous candidate forums and the like.
Oh, you sure will. I'll try to be at every single one of them.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you, Dan.